Hi angels and welcome. I'm your host Lisa Everding, founder of Earthy Angels, and I'm on a mission to empower women to live authentically and to take exquisite care of themselves. You can find us on earthyangels.com or head over to our show notes to follow us on socials. Angels, I've hit another life phase. My babies have grown up. My youngest has just graduated high school, and this has stirred up a whole lot of emotions in me that I didn't anticipate were going to happen. I shared a little bit on my Facebook group, and I've had so many mums reach out saying, I hear you, I understand, I'm feeling the same way, I'm lost, I don't know what to do. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to dive into a bit of a podcast episode around what I've done today, how it's helped me, and how it can help you. Some of you are not where I'm at yet. Some of you are going through it. Some of you are further along the journey, but I'm just sharing where I'm sitting right here, right now, today, angels. Good morning, my beautiful friends. I had to share with you what come up for me this morning because I always love to share with you guys authentically. I always love to share what I am going through from a personal experience because I just believe how much it can uplift, it can help, it can support, it can give inspiration to you guys, to other women out there. And I may be further ahead along the track than you. I still have so much to learn, and I know that I just speak from the heart when I share these things with you. And I always get people message me saying, you know, thank you for being so raw and authentic. Thank you. You really helped me to deal with this situation. Thank you. I never looked at it from this perspective. So I just share what comes up on my podcast. I like to just have a chat with you guys as if I was sitting with you in the studio or over, I was going to say a cup of coffee, but I don't drink coffee, over a raw cacao or a green smoothie or something, just having a chat with you guys about just like friends. So just think of me on the other end of where you're listening, just as a girlfriend having a chat, or a coach having a chat with you, and take out of it exactly what you need. Even if it's just one line that just resonates with you, that shifts something in with you, my job is done. I'm so happy about that. So what happened for me this morning? I had Brock's graduation yesterday. Brock's my youngest. Riley is at this stage of recording, Riley's 20 and Brock's just turned 18 about a month ago. And he had his high school graduation yesterday. And I have been thinking, yes, I'm so excited. Tom and I are like, yes, this part of our schooling journey is over. It is done. There are things that we are had enough of. I guess I don't like being told. I don't like too much restriction and limitations or too many rules. And, you know, we had lots of, over this last 12 months, I'm sure the teachers have had enough of us. But no, just kidding. But just little minor things, you know, like Brock getting called in for meetings because like, oh, Brock's got his earrings in, or, we didn't get a meeting over that. But, things like his hair needs to, you know, he needs to cut his hair, or I got one last final email this week saying, make sure Brock shaved his facial hair for graduation on Friday. I'm like, yes, this is the last time I'll ever get an email like this, because I just want my kids to be free to express themselves and be who they want to be. He's not untidy, unkept. He just is who he is. But yes, I do understand that I have enrolled him in a beautiful, the kids are going to this beautiful, beautiful Christian school, which we've absolutely loved. And yeah, there's rules with schools like that, okay? But we're just at the end of our journey and we're just like done with it. So I was kind of feeling a little bit like, yes, you know, that is done. I don't have to answer to that anymore. And Brock's also equipped. He is doing, he's been doing a school-based apprenticeship. So he's had his foot in the door of school and work. So there's some days, you know, we're like, oh, it'd just be better if he just worked today. So he's kind of at that point where he's he's ready to go. But we said to him early on, we're like, mate, it's up to you. If you want to leave school and fulfill your apprenticeship full time, that is fine. If you want to stay, you've got one last year to just be a kid, to have your graduation, have your formal, hang out with your mates, and just have not too much responsibility for the rest of the year. If you want to do that, that's fine too. The decision's yours, but whatever way you decide, we've kind of got to toe the line a bit with what's expected of you. So he decided to see out the year with his friends and everything, which I think was great, and have his graduation, his formal. So we were kind of like, got to the end of the year, and he's already been working kind of part-time in and around his apprenticeship anyway. So for us, it kind of felt like he was kind of half in school, half out of school, I guess you would say. So we're kind of rocking up with this expectation yesterday, like, hell yeah, school's out, school's out. I've been listening to that school, what was it, Alice Cooper, school's out for summer, school's out forever. And so, we didn't really we weren't too overly emotional or anything. It was just like a formality yesterday to go and get and celebrate him and celebrate the kids and celebrate all of their achievements. Like, it was pretty cool to sit and watch and celebrate what these kids have gone through in their 12 years of schooling together. And it was really wonderful to watch yesterday. But it hit me, right? We were sitting there, and he had his photo up on the big screen. They had a photo of him in prep, and then a photo of him from grade 12. And I started feeling emotional, and I get really emotional with music, and I get really emotional feeling other people's emotions. I'm quite an empath. So sitting in graduation yesterday, kind of watching what some of the kids are going through, listening to their the speeches and what's being said, I felt really emotional. And then this morning, I kind of got home yesterday, and I was going through some photos of back when he was little, and I felt, oh my gosh, like, this stage of my life has come to an end, and was a bit teary yesterday. And I woke up this morning and thought, I need to unpack this a little bit. I need to journal on this and reflect a little bit on this. And so I pulled out my journal. I was up at the crack of dawn. I'm often up at like 4:30, and sat out under in my Zen zone, watching the morning come to life, which you guys know I love. And I pulled out my journal, and I started writing down my feelings, and I started writing down how, obviously how proud I am of Brock, how proud I am of his achievements, of the young man that he's grown into. But also it hit me like, this stage of my life is over. My kids are adults. My kids are going out into the real world. My kids, this is what was going through my head. This is not fully true, but this is what, was going through my head that I was writing down, like, my kids don't need me anymore. And yes, they're always going to need us. I still need my mum and my dad, and they're always going to need us, but, they're not as reliant on us anymore, which is, part of us are like, hell yes. And then part of us like, oh, feeling a little bit, Tom's more hell yes. I'm the one that's probably sitting in the, maybe a little bit of grief over it. And just feeling like they don't need us as much anymore. They're, they come and they go. They're out with their friends. They are, getting partners and jobs and all this real world stuff and influence from a lot more outside of home. And I just started thinking, oh my goodness, this part of my life has come to an end. It means I'm old, right? Like, it means I'm getting so much older when I've got kids of that age. I was sitting with that. I was sitting with what's going to happen over the next couple of years, because they could travel, they could move away, they could, who knows, they could move out of home. Like, all these are going to happen, right? It's inevitable, but it's going to happen. I don't think they're going to go too far at the moment, because we have set them up a little bit here with their own areas in this new place that we've got. They've all got, like, Brock's got a man cave, his own area, Riley's got her own area. They're all a bit self-sufficient with mini kitchens and bathrooms and areas for them and their friends to hang out. And that's something that was important to us, that we wanted to do, so that they can save, they can stay and save. And, I don't feel like there's just such a big rush to kick the kids out of home. I love that family unit. I love the togetherness. You travel a lot like I have. You go to all these other cultures, and you see how, like, some of the cultures they kind of live together in these bit of a, what's the word, like a little community on their property with all little houses. And I love that feeling of it. I love the grandparents are involved, like that community village type feeling. And I really love that. And that's something important to us. And so we've kind of set up this in this new stage of our life where the kids are a little bit more independent in their own places, still all together in the same property, in the same house. And they're not going anywhere. We live on the water. They've got jet skis and stuff, and they've got their mates can come over and do what they want, and they can have a really good time. And mum still supports them a little bit with the cooking and washing and things like that. So they're not in any big hurry, but who knows, right? Who knows what is gonna happen. So I'm sitting with all of this, thinking we're going into this new stage of our life, bawling my eyes out, writing all of this stuff down in my journal, because I think it's really important to sit with your emotions, to have the emotional intelligence, to feel what's coming up for you, to allow yourself to cry, to allow yourself to release. And sometimes when you start writing down in your journal, things come up that you didn't even know that you were carrying, or that you didn't even know that you were holding on to, or that you didn't even know that needed releasing. That gets stored in your body, stored in your subconscious. And when you start journaling it and you start writing it out, these things just kind of pour out of you. And I get into a stage where I will write, and sometimes it's like my pen just takes over and I'm not really in control of what I'm writing, and I'm just letting the words spill out, trying to keep up with what's coming through to me. So I'm writing down all of these emotions. I've got this Scorpion song playing, Winds of Change, because that popped into my head this morning. So I thought I'm going to put that song on. So I've got that song on, and I'm like bawling my eyes out, writing all of my emotions down. And I sat with that for a little bit. I went down to the jetty, it was really nice. I was just down there, and my golden was with me, Kira was with me, and she's just sitting beside me, leaning onto my legs as I'm taking a few deep breaths, kind of just letting all of this go. And it was windy as anything. There's no, coincidences. It was so windy. It was overcast. It was just this scene of letting go. And it's a full moon tonight, right? It's a full moon. So, which is why I've been feeling really heightened with my emotions. So I'm using that energy to write, to release, to let my body heal and process and accept this stage of life where I'm at, because I think that can cause such a disruption in our energy if we just try and cling on to things so much, and it can create like this bit of a discord or this bit of resistance. And if we bury things deep down inside, I think it's really important to bring them up, to face them, to allow ourselves to experience how we're feeling, guilt-free, embarrassment-free. Just, it is what it is. We all, as part of our human experience, we all go through emotions all the time, happiness, sadness, grief, sorrow, releasing, letting go. It's a constant process of change. And I think that song, Winds of Change, was just really, and the wind, it's so windy here we are at times. And just feeling this like wind, like this force kind of pouring through me that I have no control over. Just like the wind, we can't control nature, we can't control what goes on, but I'm using this energy that I'm sitting in to stir things up in me and to work through it and process it and let it go. And it doesn't mean that it's just going to be like an instant fix, right? But it just helps release a few layers. It helps you process, and it helps you accept where you're at in the moment, and just give yourself permission to feel how you need to feel. Because girls, as a mom, this is it's emotional. It's a big transition in a mother's life. And for me to process and let go of it, it also allowed me to open up to accepting where I am in the moment. I can't bring back what has been, but I have these amazing memories and experiences. And it's been an amazing journey to get to where I am now. But also for me to move forward, to open the door, to let in more adventures, more experiences, more I guess experiences for me and Tom. This is going to be a different stage in our life as the kids getting a bit older and they're doing their own thing. So, it's going to be new experiences for us. It's going to be new experiences for my kids as they step into adulthood. And it's going to be new experiences for me in finding myself in this new place in my life as well. And something that's always stuck with me is I remember doing a kinesiology session many years ago with my beautiful friend Jody. And she said to me, like, your kids come through you, our kids come through us, but they're not yours to keep. And that has always sat with me. And I've always thought, like, they're not mine to control. They're not my possessions. I don't always know better. My kids teach me a lot of stuff. And so I think it's important to listen to them. And also, I just feel that our job is to equip them to go on their own soul journey. They have their own unique individual soul just as much as I do, just as much as you do. And we need to equip them to grow and to develop and to blossom into what they're meant to do. So we've never been ones to kind of say to the kids, okay, when you finish school, like, you should go to uni, you should do that, you should do this. It's up to them what feels right for them. And like, when Riley finished school, she took 12 months. She didn't know exactly what she wanted to do. And I said to her, babe, just take a gap year. She was just working in fast food at the time. And I said, just take a gap year, take 12 months, figure out, just enjoy it. You don't even have to figure it out right then and there. Just enjoy it. You've had 13 years of schooling. So why don't you just take this time to just be in the real world a little bit? You're going to get life experience dealing with a lot more people, with the routine of going to work and to the routine of having to be responsible to get up and go to a job and get called in and deal with an employer and deal with the real world stuff, and just have fun, spend time with your friends, do a little bit of, if you want to go on some holidays or a little bit of travel, or do what it is that you need to just maybe be a bit free for a year. And then you'll know when the time's right. I said, don't stay there, like, don't blush, don't stay there, but you'll know when it's time to step into something. And we had a big family trip to the islands off the coast of Bali, and Bali at the end of last year, and we were there on New Year's. And she just said, okay, it's time for me to get a grown-up job. I'm kind of done now. And she made that decision herself. And we just kind of guided her. Like I said, okay, like, if you think about how do you want your life picture to look, and what you do now does not have to be for the rest of your life, right? Like, I've chopped and changed and I'm loving what I do now, but I had all these experiences in different jobs or in different fields to get to where I am. It's like these little breadcrumbs that you learn along the way, and they form this foundation for what you're going to step into. So I said, don't get so sold out that what you do now has to be the rest of your life, because it won't be. And so she made that decision that I need a grown-up job now, and then something aligned for her immediately, and she is so happy. She loves what she's doing, and she's really happy, and she's in the most amazing team of support in her office. She loves it, and she's just thriving, and she loves it. But she come to that in her own time. And sometimes I think it's important to step back a little bit, to just sit in the energy of what feels good for me right now. And then the energy will help I shouldn't say just your purpose, but it'll help you make a decision. It will help you get a little bit of clarity, rather than feeling the pressure that you just have to jump straight into something straight away. And I've seen some, and again, this is no disrespect, everybody's will figure stuff out in their own way, in their own time. But, like, I had seen some kids a little bit older than her that felt this pressure, I have to go to uni, I have to go to uni, or I have to do this. Did it, invested time, money, and energy, and after 12 months goes, it's actually not what I want to do. But that's part of their life purpose and their journey and their experience as well. So that's kind of what I feel our job is to equip the kids, to be there to support them, to help them make their own decisions, but also help them to tune into their own intuition. Like, I had an experience just recently, which I'll share with you for Brocky. So he got a new car the other day. He loves it. It's something that he's wanted to get. Like, the boys are into their four-wheel driving, and he loves it. He got this 80 series Land Cruiser. So when he got his first car, when he was about 16 and a half, it was an older car, an older four-wheel drive Navara that he loved. And I was so nervous about him driving an older car, because it was probably, oh gosh, I can't remember how many years old, but it was an older car, right? And I was really worried, like, is it going to be okay? Is it going to be reliable? All of these things. And he was just adamant. He shopped around. We found there was another car. It was a little bit newer. And I said, mate, why don't you go for this one? He goes, no, this is the one I want. And so he made that decision. And that car was so good for him. He had no problems with it. He trusted in his gut. He had no problems with it. And it really served him well. So he just upgraded again the other day. He ended up, the person that originally, he said he had his car on the market for, on Facebook Marketplace and that for a little while. And he wasn't getting any hits on it. And anyway, just randomly out of the blue, the other day, he gets a message. The person that owned the car, 2 owners before him, wanted to buy the car back and wanted to come down and see him. It was of a night time. He could only get there over night time. And I'm like, mate, this doesn't make sense. Like, I just didn't sit real, I don't know. I just didn't know if I felt quite comfortable with it. And I'm like, don't give out any bank details. Like, don't, trust, because there's dodgy things that happen on social media, on Facebook and stuff like that. Like, don't say, oh, here's my bank details for a deposit. Because this guy was just like, I want your car. And it was basically sight unseen. So it made me put my guard up a little bit, and that protective motherhood instinct come in. And I'm like, Brock, be careful. Don't give him any details and wait and see what happens. He goes, Mum, it's cool. I've got this. Anyway, the guy comes, picks up the car like that night, brings in cash, and again, I'm a bit nervous, like going out driving in the cane fields with this random stranger at night time. He's like, Mom, it's cool, like calm down. And then what happened, he because I hadn't met this guy, right? So I went and had a chat. I had to go and take some forms down to Brock, and I had a bit of a chat with this guy, and I found out that talking to him, why he had to get rid of the car a couple of years ago, and a few relationship things, health things, and then he wanted to get it back because he never got an opportunity. He was a younger guy as well. He had worked on this car. He's a mechanic and put all the things in it, which was why Brock had not one drama with this car, right? It would just run like, it was just gold. And he never had an issue. It's been a great car. And I'm like, you sure you want to give it up? It's been such a good car. And anyway, the guy, under circumstances, had to sell it. So he needed the money, and he'd been trying to track it down to get it back and to find it, because he'd spent so much time and love and passion working on this car. And when I met him and got chatting with him, I'm like, oh, Brock, like this guy is so genuine. I really feel it's okay. And he's like, see, I told you so, Mum, it was fine. So I'm like, yep, I know. So then he gave up his car. He didn't have a car for a few days. And I said to Brock, that aligning of the timing of that car was perfect for you and perfect for that young man, because by you not selling it straight away, this guy, it's come back to him when he needed it. It randomly appeared, and you can see how much he actually loved it, and he knew this car inside out, knew details that no scammer would know, right? And so I said, like, this is lined up for you and it's lined up for him. Can you see how things sometimes unfold in divine timing, even though you were frustrated by not selling the car straight away? So then part 2 of this story is he finds this other car, this 80 series, which he loves. And he wanted to go, and he's like, I've looked at a couple of cars. This is it, Mum. We've checked it out. My mates have checked it out. It's got no rust. It's got this, this, and this. And Tom and I are not car people. So we're very smart. Tom's very handy in a lot of things, but we're not fully car people. And for some reason, he couldn't get a roadworthy with it straight away. And Brock was willing to buy it without a roadworthy. And so this mothering instinct kicks in again. And Tom said a few things the same to him, like, are you sure? Like, Brock, this is a big, this is something that you've got to be very, very careful of. It could be dodgy. It could have problems. You're investing a lot more money into this car. We just don't want to see you get burnt. And we're chatting. He's like, Mum, it's fine. I've got this. And we were worried about this guy being a bit dodgy again, because he didn't have a roadworthy. And so anyway, Tom went with Brock to go and pick up the car. And Tom said, I actually got really good vibes from this guy. He said he kind of didn't want to sell it either, but he had to. And he said to Brock, he showed Brock everything. They were there for hours, right? And he loved this car. And he's like, I want to see what you do with it. Bring it back. I might buy it back off you down the track. And Tom said you could just see he was really genuine and really cared about the car and knew a lot about it. And offered to help him out. If you get stuck, ring me, I can help you with this and this. And he was a mechanic also. And anyway, and I chatted with Brock that night, and I pulled him aside and I said, mate, I just want to say sorry to you. Like, I should have trusted you. Do you know why I was a little bit panicky about a few things? He's like, yeah, you just don't want to see me get hurt. You just want to protect me. And I said, yeah, that's right. But I needed to let go of the reins a little bit. This has been a big lesson for me as well, because I need to trust in you I've taught you how to trust in your gut. I have taught you how to have good intuition. I have taught you that things line up for you when you put out there what you want. And this is aligned perfectly for you. It's only early days. We'll see how it goes. But I actually had a conversation with him, adult to adult, and said, I'm sorry for me maybe overreacting a little bit. And you've got this, mate. Like I said, you've totally got this. And we've taught you to trust your intuition. And he goes, Mum, I really feel this is going to be okay. And I said, that's fine. I'll back off a little bit and I will let you go, because I've done my job in teaching you how to manifest, how to read your intuition, how the things feel in your body, with if things feel right or if things feel wrong. I've taught him all of these things. So this has been a big lesson for me, to have to back off a little bit and step back and go, they're okay, like they've got this. I've equipped them. Remembering that line, like they come through me, they're not mine to keep. They come through me, they're on their own soul journey. And if anything does go wrong with this car, that's all experience for him, like I have to release that. I can't protect him from everything. Just because I would go and do things one way doesn't mean he has to do it that way as well, So that's been a real big lesson that's come up this week as well. So I have been like bawling my eyes out, just releasing so much, but also feeling in my heart. I then went on and wrote about how grateful I am for the experiences I've had with the kids, for getting them through school, for going to this beautiful, amazing school with this beautiful community where they've met the most amazing friends. They have, because I believe you kids they're a product of who they hang around. We're a product of who we hang around, And so he's had this beautiful, both my kids have had this beautiful association of people around them. The schools had good morals, good values. And it's really, I just poured my heart into the gratitude that I was feeling, and the gratitude that I've got them this far. And it's like the mother bird kind of pushing them out of their nest for them to find their wings and for them to fly, is what was going through my mind, and the vision that I was seeing. And so I was sitting with all of this morning, feeling all the feels, reflecting on it. I wrote a bit of a post about it in my Earthy Angels Connect group as well. And I thought about it, and I thought, I have been through this before. When I went to Bali as a retreat guest a few years back, was when the kids went through primary school and they were transitioning into that high school age. They were going from that preteens into the teens. And I remember going to Bali, and I remember I had the worst periods I've ever had in my life, right? Like I was just so heavy, and I just felt this big release. I thought it's a bit of a shitty time being on retreat or being in another country and having to deal with this, but at the same time I know it was a lot of releasing through my root chakra, through all that feminine energy of the lower chakras in your body, that womb energy, that mothering energy, that sacred birthing energy stirred up so much in me. And I remember sitting in the car, we were going out on a trip, and I look out the window and there was a scooter pull up beside me, and it had like a mum, dad, and like two little kids on the scooter. And I looked out and I'm bawling my eyes out, going, that stage of my life is over. And so I went through a bit of a period of releasing that part of my kids when they were younger, transitioning into, I won't be a mum to little kids anymore. And they were transitioning into teenage years. And now I'm going through it again. And I remembered back to, at this retreat, right? I remembered back to the days when I was young. I was about 20. I was a supervisor at a bank. And I remember going through the women, a lot of the women that I worked with were a lot older than me. And I remember seeing them I guess some of them and some customers that would come through, we were just in conversation, their kids were getting older and leaving school or leaving home. And I remember seeing how lost some of these women were, and how that maybe their marriages had suffered as a result of just investing. It's all about the kids, spending 20 years of going through that. It's all about the kids stage and not nourishing marriages in the process, and how it's easy to go your separate ways because it just is so demanding being a parent. And so back then I kind of made a decision that, I'm always going to invest time into my marriage as much as I am in my kids. And so that kind of was sitting with me when I was in Bali, and I was thinking, I just feel that I don't want to get lost when my kids move out of home, or when I get older. I need to find me outside of my role as a mum. I need to find me outside of, I'm more than just a mum. And I went through that stage on my retreat in Bali, a lot of self-discovery and a lot of soul searching, and thinking about how I want my life to look, what I want to do. And on that trip for me in Bali, a lot shifted in me. And I remember seeing the beautiful teacher and looking at her, thinking how amazing she was and the things that she could do and what she was achieving. And she was in her 50s. And I was thinking, because at this stage I was in my late 30s, and I was thinking about wanting to go and study a little bit more, but I had this fear of, I'm too old to, am I too old to go and study and get into something else? And anyway, and I broke down a lot of fears around that. And I remember her saying to me, she kicked off a lot of things in her 40s. And I've read so many books and everything since now that I know it doesn't matter what age you are. There's, I'm in admiration of people that start things in their 60s, 70s. You're never too old to start anything new. And so at that time in retreat, I come home, I made a decision, and I come home and I enrolled in yoga teacher training. And that led me to go into the studio. And I didn't know at the time exactly what I was going to do. I just followed the breadcrumbs of what come up for me at the moment. And at that time, when I was on retreat and journaling and reflecting and going through all of the journey of self-discovery and finding myself outside of my role as a mum, I made some decisions and I got some clarity around what I wanted and what I wanted to do, because I was away from work, I was away from my family, I was away from the busyness and the pressures and the stress and the daily chores and all of that day-to-day stuff that we just do on repeat. I was away from that. And so I just got some clarity to just sit with me for a week and figure out, I guess, my next stage, or what I want to do as my kids got to that little bit older and got independent and started being more influenced by their friends and things like that. I knew I had to find myself outside of my role as just being a mum, and that was a really powerful journey for me. And because I know that I think it's really important to discover what you love, discover what lights you up, to discover what is unique about you and what you're creative in doing, because we are more than our role as a mum or a wife or a partner or a caregiver or whatever job title you do. We are more than that. But sometimes we get so stuck in these roles and caring for everybody else, which is an amazing thing to do. Being a mum is one of the most rewarding, important, fulfilling roles and purpose of your lifetime. So I'm not discounting that at all, because I think that is just one of the most amazing gifts that you can give to yourself and to experience as a human being, is to be a caregiver and to give to other people. I absolutely just love that role and that part of my life so much. But I also believe that we're here on our own soul journey, and that we are unique, and our soul has something that is calling us, something that we want to do outside of our role as mother, caregiver, partner, whatever you do for work. There is something bigger calling us, but sometimes we need to step back a little bit from the rat race, back from everything that is going on, the hustle and bustle of everyday life, to find that, to dig deep and to find that within yourself. And it might come from just a little hunch. Like I just had this little hunch enroll in yoga teacher training. That was it. Then I had that battle going back and forward. You're too old, like it's going to take time, it's going to cost money. You've got, you're running a family, you're running your personal training business. How have you got time to study? But I just kept getting this like niggling feeling to do this teacher training. And so I trusted in it, and I went and did some research and looked up some places. And by the time, like within weeks of coming back, I'd enrolled to study, and you just make it work. I just made it happen. And so I want you to have a little think about, what is it that you maybe feel a little bit of a calling to do outside of your role as a mum, because you are unique. Your soul there is so much more of yourself to give to the world. There is so much more of yourself in a way that is unique to you. There's something that lights you up. There is something that you feel rewarded in doing it, that is effortless for you, that you enjoy, something creative that you like doing, something that is expansive, something that is of service. And you may not know what that is at the moment. You might be thinking, I'm just stuck in this funk of dealing with my kids leaving school or dealing with a transition in my life. And that's okay. Sit with that, reflect on that, journal on that, right? Feel all the feels. You need to feel all that. You don't need to know the answers of what you need to do next, but give yourself permission to follow your gut instinct, to follow those little hunches, and to, maybe it could just be starting a journey, for instance, of going and doing a yoga class, or going and learning how to ground yourself, or going and starting the process of journaling, or allowing yourself time and space to just be by yourself a little bit, out away from everybody else, so that you can reflect a little bit more. Maybe start listening to a few podcasts that get your attention. Maybe, changing a couple of things that are not aligning with you anymore. Stop doing some things that you don't enjoy doing. Stop doing some things that aren't fulfilling to you, or that you feel are a drain on your energy. And just give yourself a little bit of permission to start the process of self-discovery. Start the process of asking questions. It can be as simple as standing in the shower or driving your car going, what lights me up? And you may not know that right now, and that's okay. It could be asking a question of, what do I need to do next? Why is this little niggling feeling calling me towards whatever it is that you want to do? How am I feeling right now? It can just be a simple question, because it's amazing the answers that come when you actually ask yourself the right question, because your soul knows the answers. And I find the more that you dive into the inner work, I find the more that you dive into discovering more about yourself, these answers will come through for you. And these answers are always coming through for you, but you need to open yourself up to receive, and open yourself up to listen by connecting more in with your intuition. Because you have so much to offer the world, angels. Like, you just have so much to offer in your own unique way. And don't ever feel like what I love doing or what I offer is small compared to, what I see some other women doing. Don't compare yourself to what other women are doing. Just tune into your passion. It could be something as simple as art. It could be something as simple as working in a shop that that you're serving people by, maybe helping them decorate their home, or helping them with their food choices, or whatever it is for you. Follow that urge. Follow the thing that lights you up. And just give yourself time and space to reflect. It could be a week. Maybe you might want to come for a week with me in Bali, or on a retreat, and just give yourself an opportunity. It could be a week, it could be a day, half a day, a weekend, whatever. Just give yourself an opportunity to step away from the hustle and bustle, where you can actually dive into yourself, where you can actually discover parts of yourself that they're there. They are deep down inside. You just need to crack yourself open a little bit and ask the right questions to get to them. So I have shared a lot with you today. I have shared all of the feels that have been coming up for me. And girls, I know being a mum is hard work, and I know that we are all at different stages. And as I was reflecting back on a couple of these photos, I just thought to myself how I'm so grateful my dad taught me to get down to the kids level. I've always watched him play with the kids. I've always watched him have time for people and have time with the kids. Kids are just drawn to him. And I really enjoyed, not all the time, it was freaking hard. It was definitely hard work. There's definitely things we go through as mums that you're thinking, what am I doing? This is draining, this is exhausting. Like, I just have no time for me. But then you'll get to a point in your life where you're like me and you'll be like, my kids are off my hands, so just enjoy and make the most of and just sit with whatever stage you are at with your kids, because you're never going to get that back. That's life, that's life. That's part of the human experience. We are constantly growing. We're constantly evolving. We are constantly having experiences. We are constantly changing. Life's constantly changing. Just like that song, The Winds of Change, everything's constantly changing in our life. So don't wish it away, try not to wish it away and hurry up to the next phase. Just allow yourself to be in the moment of whatever phase you're at the moment of being a mum. Sometimes it's happy, sometimes it's sad, sometimes it's rewarding, sometimes it just like kicks you in the guts. Like it is up and it is down. But just sit with it and allow yourself those times to reflect, those times to journal, those times to cry, those times to heal, and the space to sit with what is coming up for you, because it is a journey, girls. Like it is a journey. And I know that we're all here on our own unique path, on our own unique way, but just know that our own unique stage, but just know that you have so much worth, you have so much love and so much value to give your children, to give yourself, and to give to other people. You're here to learn, to grow, to evolve. That is part of our soul purpose, is to be here to learn and to feel all the feels of being a human, the good, the bad, the up, the down, the amazing, the grief, all of it. We're here to feel all the feels and to really experience what it feels like being in this human body. And you're here to be the fullest expression of you in whatever way that is unique to you. So do the inner work. This is why my inner work is not negotiable for me. It has just led me to discover so much about myself, and it's led me to have the courage to share with you guys, to be authentic, to be raw, to be open, to be vulnerable, and share with you guys just like I have today. So take out of it, like I say all the time, take out of this what you need. If it's just one line, and that's amazing. I'm so happy to hear that. But if it is a full moon, you're probably not going to hear this at the time it is a full moon, but at the moment it is. Release what needs to be released. Feel the feels. Maybe burn it. Write a letter to yourself. But always sit in gratitude. Sit in gratitude of what has been. Sit in gratitude of the lessons, the growth, the good times, the bad times, because they have allowed you to evolve to where you are. Sit in gratitude of the stages that you've gone through with your kids, and gratitude of the stages that's to come, the stages that's to come for you, for your children, for you and your partner. Always come back to gratitude, my friends, because no matter how hard things are at times, there is always something to be grateful for. Well, I'm going to love you and leave you and go and have a chat with my son before he goes off to schoolies this afternoon. And have a beautiful rest of your day. Have a beautiful rest of your, what's a weekend for me here, wherever you are. Just have a beautiful time. So much love for you, angels. Bye. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode and want more, feel free to follow or subscribe on whatever platform you listen to. You can also head over to earthyangels.com or join our private Facebook group, Earthy Angels Connect, for more community, blogs, updates, inspo, motivation, support, and to connect with a tribe of like-minded souls. And if you have a moment, we would be super grateful if you would love to leave a review. Sending you so much light and love, Angel.